How desperate must Caddx be? They've just announced that for the month of November, you can pre-order the Avatar VRX system, which includes a VTX. You can get their 1S VTX for $199 or the full power VTX for $239. It's an absolute steal. The VRX itself is working out inside of one of these packages to cost about $85. Now that is absolute dirt cheap. Now many people might say that this is desperation from Caddx, but it's actually great business. And the three reasons as to why I believe that is firstly HDZero, the second is DJI, and then the third is console gaming with PlayStation and Xbox. Let's start with HDZero. Regardless of what you think about the image quality or penetration, one thing's for certain is that there is a loyal customer base of HDZero users. Now, every one of them has gotten into the platform through a VRX module. And when SharkBite was initially launched, that was the strategy. There is a whole bunch of existing analog pilots, all with analog goggles with HDMI input. How can we get our digital system into their hands for the lowest possible cost to see whether or not there is a long-term and sustainable product to come out of this? So the answer was VRX module. Over time, that community has grown, and there has been demand from that existing HDZero community for goggles, dedicated HDZero goggles. And towards the end of the year, they're going to actually release a set of those. Now, if you want to try and convert analog users, the most expensive way to do it is try and convince them to not only buy your goggles for better or for worse based upon the quality of the goggles and the features that they offer, but you're very much selling them the ecosystem behind it. So having that high cost of entry through the goggles, which if you do not like the system and you're going to sell it and move on, is a very expensive way. So it doesn't lead to people wanting to then go, yes, I'll give this system a go. So having people with that existing VRX means that you've got an existing pool of customers that you can sell goggles to, and that's what's going to happen with HDZero. They've already worked out what the demand for their new goggles are, so there's immediate sales right away. And that leads me to DJI. Now you might be thinking, well, hang on a tick, when DJI launched, they launched with goggles and video system in one, which is how Walksnail and Avatar launched as well, which you may think hasn't been successful, and I probably agree with you. But you go, okay, well, DJI launched with a goggle and video system all in one, and it converted a lot of pilots. Well, it did, but that's actually an exception to the rule, and here is why. When DJI released the FPV system, nothing was like it. It was brand new, and it was leaps and bounds above everything else, which was just analog. So when you have people that are sitting there flying analog, which is like flying a TV from the early 90s, and then suddenly you put in front of them a HD system, they're going to go, wow, and it's going to immediately capture their attention and want them to buy it. But now the DJI FPV system's been out for a while, launching a new system and trying to convince people to jump ship from either analog or DJI isn't necessarily going to work. But that also leads me to the point of DJI with their new O3 VTX. Now, a lot of people are thinking, yeah, when that comes out, that's going to blow these other systems out of the water. It's actually not. Now, if we think about who the potential customers for the DJI system are, same with the HDZero goggles, it's going to be their existing customer base. DJI and HDZero, through their new goggles, are looking to convert as many of their existing customers in their ecosystem to their new platform. They will naturally get pilots from other platforms such as analog or maybe HDZero, maybe Walksnail, who go, actually, I want to go into this new DJI system. But that's going to be a small portion of their sales. It's going to be upgrades of existing users. Pilots have probably been sitting on the fence deciding whether or not they're going to go for DJI, Walksnail or HDZero, and then this compelling offer comes in from Walksnail to say, hey, you know what, for $200 you can get into our system with your existing goggles. People who have been waiting for DJI will probably go, you know what, that's a low enough price point for me to go and make the decision to buy into the Caddx Avatar system, and then go, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. It was $200 and I can then still upgrade to DJI. I haven't really lost much and I could probably resell it on the market. Same way that we've seen a bunch of people resell their DJI FPV drones. But the other aspect is they're capitalizing on that delay. So you've got this period of time when people have been sitting on the fence. That's an opportunity for Caddx to go in and say, hey, why don't you try us? instead of waiting for another system. Let's actually look at the economics of how this is all working and why it's actually good business. And that's where we actually look at what has happened in console gaming. We know that both Microsoft and PlayStation sell their consoles at an absolute loss. Now, the idea of selling the hardware at a loss is to incentivize people to actually buy their software. So when customers have a PlayStation 5, they're going to go and buy multiple PlayStation games and have their different subscriptions and all the different value-added services to further monetize the customer. And that's exactly what Caddx are doing here. You've got one set of goggles with one VRX. Sure, you might upgrade to the goggles down the track, but you're going to have many VTXs, and Caddx are going to sell you those VTXs at a healthy margin in order to make up that loss. If I look at the number of quads that I have running HDZero, it's probably about 5 or 6 at the moment. And if I look at the ones running DJI, that's probably about another 5. So I've bought one set of goggles for each and 5 VTXs. But over the last 2 years, I've broken a number of VTXs, whether it's been a Vista or a HDZero one, in crashes, or sold those quads onto other people. So VTXs are actually where the money is, and where both Caddx and the console game companies make all of their money in the games and in the services that you buy. And they're the 3 reasons why I don't actually think this is desperation from Caddx, but it's actually a good bit of business. The only thing is, I just don't think they know it. If you disagree with me, that's completely cool. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments below. I'd really like to hear your thoughts as we discuss this as a community.